The international break lull is about to come to an end to begin a big block of fixtures for Ipswich Town. This is Blue Monday, an Ipswich Town podcast. The international break, and they seem to be more plentiful at Premier League level. Dave, have we got any players doing anything this time? I never know, and I get loads of stick for not knowing, but I try and have a little buffer at this point.
I think
What's going on?
I didn't say it last week. I'm going to say it now. International break. Crap. Hate it.
So Kieran McKenna does not get a crap, but international break does. Good.
Oh, honestly, mate. Yeah, I just can't be doing with it. I mean, that's just, and one coming up again 3 weeks' time. Is it fairly soon, isn't it? It's just, just takes the wind out of your sails, doesn't it? But yeah, we've had certainly numbers playing, haven't we? I mean, certainly in the closer to home, we've had three starters for Ireland. Jack Taylor on the bench. We obviously had Amari, Hutchison, and Delap with the 21s. Delap, first game certainly I think was talked up quite well. I think he had quite a good game. I think Hutchison was withdrawn on the hour, wasn't perhaps quite so effective, I don't think. But yeah, and obviously other players. I know the goalkeeper's been with Kosovo, hasn't he? I think he was on the bench for the last game, I think. So yeah, plenty out of the building.
Is he back in good graces, Dave? Wasn't he in trouble in the last one, Mirich?
Well, allegedly.
Okay, you go for the allegedly.
Yeah.
Richard, where's Joe Fairs? Is he sunning himself, or is he partying or something? What's going on? Welcome.
He's gallivanting, I think, isn't he? I think he mentioned a free bar. Quote marks.
Okay.
So that's where Joe is. So yeah, I'm standing in. Apologies. Normal service hopefully resumes next week for Everton, won't it, when we have proper football to talk about. But yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with Dave. I care less and less about international football the more the years go by, actually. But yeah, as Colin said there in the chat, Henry Winter's been doing his best to tout Liam Delap around, hasn't he, the last few days? Kind of mentioned him on a podcast, wrote a blog about him as well. I get the debate out there: who leaves first, Delap or McKenna?
What I would say about I didn't see much of it. I saw a little bit of the Greece game. Fair play to Lee Carsey, who channeled his inner Ozzy Ardiles Spurs of like the 93-94 and went gung ho and played like 5 quasi forwards, although not one at number 9. But yeah, that was quite entertaining for a few minutes.
Just quickly, Dave, on that crap, Dave. I think you made the right call last week. Judging by the comments, I think a crap would have been too early and very unpopular from what I read in the comments after.
I thought about it afterwards, and I kicked myself for not thinking it. But when we came off air, I thought what I should have said was there is a 4-letter word beginning with C, and the word would be calm.
Oh,
just forget it.
I like that a lot. Welcome, guys, to Blue Monday. It's the international break. So what we are going to do is going to have a look at the next block of fixtures. And we would love you, don't do it yet, we would love you to play along in the comments. We're going to go through one by one. All the guys from the podcast team have put their thoughts in on this next block of games as Ipswich Town look for their first win of the Premier League season. If you're here and in the chat, get involved. If you're listening after the fact on audio, we love you equally as much. No more, no less. But do think about coming over each and every Sunday at 8 p.m. here on YouTube and joining the fun. Richard, quickly, how did the girls get on today?
5-1 winners. The reason for those who are watching in black and white, I'm wearing pink tonight. In celebration of the women's team who wore that shirt away at Plymouth. I would trip down to Plymouth. We spoke to Lucy O'Brien midweek about that trek down there and tried to manifest a goal for her, but in fact manifested a goal for pretty much every other midfielder. But she started and played in that one, and yeah, 1-1 at half time. But yeah, came on strong in the second half and tired Plymouth out, I suspect. And yeah, good for the goal difference with Oxford and hashtag, I think, both picking up wins as well. So it's really competitive league. Again, only one goes up, but the team in really good form, still unbeaten, a couple of games in hand, and the distraction of a cup tie next weekend at Felixstowe against Hashtag as well. So good kind of potential psychological battle to win there next week if they were to do that as well. But yeah, really great afternoon's work for them. 5-1 winners at Plymouth.
Just one question about that, Rich. Would they have travelled down yesterday?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. And I mean, there was some really great scenes. So Natasha Thomas, now record goal scorer and record appearance maker. So they presented her with a shirt and they put that out on socials on Saturday night. So it looks like they had a nice little celebration of that in the hotel on Saturday night.
Yeah, she's reaching icon club status as the years go on, isn't she? We should mention Ipswich Town first team coach Fabio Wardley. I'm only joking, Fabio. He's the wrong guy to pick on. He had a good performance last night. DD.
Yeah. Oh my goodness me. Yeah. That was sort of a bit worrying for a few minutes, wasn't it? Because I mean, his face looked. Clark's face looked like it was certainly looked like.
And this is a Mike Tyson length bout.
Yeah, I haven't seen what the extent. I haven't read a report on what the extent of injuries, but certainly looked like a dislocated jaw. And then he got.
Sounds like you got a dislocated jaw, mate.
He got hammered afterwards, didn't he? It was it did not look good. But yeah, absolutely brutal. Considering what less than 6 months ago the first fight was a real bloody slog fest, wasn't it? Actually one of the best fights I've seen in a while. So yeah, I mean, a performance like that, he's going to probably go on to bigger and better things, you would think.
Yeah, he had Clark had minor surgery this morning, I think, and he's looking to fly back home to the UK to recover. So I think he's doing okay, but it didn't look good, did it? And it was a brutal KO from Fabio, and and I guess a lot of people bringing back memories of when they faced off on the pitch at Portman Road. I guess about a year ago, maybe over a year, not a year ago, and Clark's brought out a Norwich shirt, didn't he, and wound the crowd up. Great panto, but quite a few people are bringing that back up.
It was just the noise, the sound of the punch, wasn't it? You wince watching it on TV. It was a proper haymaker.
There you go. We just about good old Fabio, but in terms of the kind of, don't want to get all business on it, but the marketing plan with Ed Sheeran and Fabio Wardley, he's been front and center, hasn't he? And very much intrinsically linked with the promotion celebrations. Let's put a couple of comments up because these are quite pertinent. Pete says anything less than 18 from Joe would be a disgrace. Watch this space, Pete, is all I'm going to say.
Pete, you might not be far wrong, actually.
No spoilers. And Lee raises a great point here. Are we going with the head or heart with the next 6? Now, I'll leave the other guys out of this. I have got untold crap online, for trying to be realistic about our Premier League chances. And all I'll say is wait till should we do it now? Let's raise the last batch of predictions. So what I'll say to Lee's question, which is a perfectly reasonable one, is we're trying to be balanced. We would love nothing more than the team to get 2 points per game right the way through the season, win the Premier League. No, you wouldn't even win the Premier League with 2 points per game. You wouldn't be anywhere near, would you? But we would love nothing more than the points to come flooding in. But we have to do head, I'm afraid, over. It's fine for you to do heart. We would love to do it with heart. But unfortunately, everything we say gets recorded. And we look very, very silly if we go head emotion the whole time. Okay, so completely understandable. And don't give me loads of grief because let's put these up. And this is what we did for the first block of games. The first 6, in fact. And we scored 4 points. The most optimistic on the team were Joe and Mikey, who went for 8 points. Seb, Rich and Craig went for 7. The second, the joint longest standing podcast member, the points get lower as you do this with Dave for 6. I went for 5 and the actual total was 4. So read into that what you will when you're giving me stick on the internet for being grumpy and negative. I was actually the closest with 5. Dave, what is your reaction? I'll put it back up to the first block and our thoughts. Bit disappointing, really.
I think Rich had it right. It's me and you. It's like 10 seasons of misery, isn't it? Well, no, sorry, what am I talking about? Sorry, seven, maybe.
Yeah,
It's look, it's been tough. It's been tough. Last week, I think, as we said on the pod last week, was a bit of a rude awakening, I think, a little bit, particularly after the performance against Villa. Obviously, the tough start, we didn't expect to get anything really realistically from Liverpool and Man City, and we didn't. But a couple of bonus, certainly I think.
Dave, we all thought a win was coming. Sorry to interrupt, mate. We all thought we'd have had a win by now, didn't we?
I think we all, I'm sure in our last, if you go back to our last predictions, we all probably predicted a win at Southampton. I would have thought for sure that was the one. Having said that, you've got to say perhaps a bonus point as such against away at Brighton. Backs to the wall, of course, but a bonus point there. But last Saturday was a bit of a kind of a reality check, I think.
Yeah, very much. Rich, I'll pop it back up on the screen. What's your reaction to that first block? And you and Seb also got a fair amount of, I think you got your own infamous thread on TWTD about being negative. We're not, I promise, guys, stick yourself in this seat right here where everything gets recorded. You have to try and call it as you think it's going to happen. You can't just say win every week, even though Joe does.
Yeah, and that was pre-Villa, by the way, where the negativity didn't pan out as we expected, and it was a great performance, wasn't it? I think probably the two thoughts that I have looking on that is, interesting. They kind of dovetail with each other quite neatly. One win in that run of 6, which doesn't include West Ham, by the way, and the points tallies look completely different. So I guess that's the good situation for us is a win on the board, and suddenly that's a real leap in the points there. But, and I think you've been really consistent on your content, Ben, and on the podcast here, is it's all relative, isn't it? That 4 points actually isn't bad because there are 3 teams who have done worse, isn't there? And I guess whilst, of course, we need to look at the games and try and predict and use a combination, a bit of both, dare I say, of head and heart. As long as 3 teams do worse than us, that's all this season is really about for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I've been going with that kind of, and we haven't actually mentioned 17th position yet today, Dave, have we? But also, forget the journey to get there. If I'd have told you it's international break number 2, isn't it? We're not in the bottom 3. You'd have taken that, wouldn't you, mate?
Obviously, yeah, absolutely right. And I think, as Rich said, quite rightly said, as long as there's 3 teams, come May, middle of May, 3 teams below us, then absolutely we're going to be fine, no matter how the season pans out. It's just this season, I'm sorry, it's just all about survival. If we can survive this season and then you build on that, and you've seen what teams like Bournemouth, Brentford, established Premier League sides now, Fulham to a degree. You just need that first season, survive that first season. The riches that come with it as well. All right, if we do survive, question, obviously more pressure on the people will come looking again at the manager again without doubt. But that's what it's all about, and how we achieve it. I don't think anyone particularly cares too much. Look, it'd be nice to achieve it in some sort of style, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
He wants the moon on a stick, doesn't he? Right, guys, listen carefully. The next block, I won't, because I don't want to put the thing up on the screen and reveal our calls for the first one. So, Rich, what is it? 6 games, is it?
Yep.
So we're going to have 6 games. So the first thing I need you to do, guys, so this is for Ipswich versus Everton. I don't need a scoreline. All I need is win, lose, draw. Maybe write Everton next to it. Get involved in the comments with that. So right now we're asking about Ipswich versus Everton. Win, lose, draw. I'll flash as many of these up while Dave and Rich are speaking, and you can get your first view of the misery that is the Blue Monday next block of predictions. Dave, I'm going to go down. No, it's good for Everton. No one's predicted a defeat. So, yeah, what's the worst that could pan out for sure? But going across there, Dave, I've gone for a draw.
Yeah,
Craig has gone for a draw. Dave, you've gone for a draw. We have wins with Joe, Mikey, Seb, and Rich has also gone for a draw. There's a few defeats coming up in the next games, but Dave, why do you think? Well, talk to me about your prediction and why broadly do you think the team are optimistic after the 2-week break?
On any prediction, really, I just went like that and put went like this. But no, yeah, it's look, Everton have had quite an odd start to the season, didn't they? They had the games where they were 2-0 up, they lost 3-2 at home to Bournemouth. That is bizarre. Conceded
Twice,
3
didn't
in
they?
the last. Twice, I think they did it. Yeah, certainly against Bournemouth at home, conceded 3 in the last 10 minutes of normal time and time added on. But last 2 games, couple of really decent results. Home win against Palace, thanks to a couple of cracking goals. Certainly one from Dwight McNeil, and a pretty hard fought 0-0 draw at home to Newcastle last time out. So yeah, and again you look through their side, and again you say this every week, does it?
We can't do it every week, Dave.
I know.
I was doing it with the West Ham guy.
All right, now I'll shut up.
No. I get why you're doing it, mate. I get why you're doing it. I've done it myself.
Yeah, you look at people like Calvert-Lewin and people if he's fit. But I think it's no coincidence. I think Brathwaite was injured early part of the season. I think he's now back at as one of the centre backs. So I think that's that's no coincidence. And as someone just posted there, someone said, well, we were watching England the other night about Jordan Pickford. He was is terrible against Greece, but you just know on Saturday he's going to have an absolute worldie against us, isn't he? But no, so I see that as a draw. And again, a draw, I don't think it'd be the worst result. At least, Everton aren't getting another 2 points. So, that wouldn't be the worst result in the world, I don't think.
Rich, before I come to you, buddy, can I just preface whatever you say? This is the block of games where a lot of the teams at the bottom are playing each other over the next month. I know we've got Southampton, Leicester coming up. I'll look a few of them up while you're talking, but and you've still got Crystal Palace and Wolves on 0 wins, which doesn't feel like it's going to stay like that forever. What's your take on I know you're going to go big on the Everton game on Thursday, Rich, but what's your take right here, right now?
Yeah, I wonder whether it's we're a bit 50-50 as a team, aren't we, in respect of wins and draws, with draws slightly the majority. I wonder whether we would reflect better on this game had we not got pumped 4-1 by West Ham. That was very much in my thinking defensively, and that's the real issue I have. I'm trying to weigh up whether the international break has come at a good time or not. I think last international break we returned and got the draw at Brighton, didn't we? Which I guess is if I'm right, it was a good point in the circumstances, but not the best of performances, perhaps. And I just worry that there is a little bit of defensive fragility about us, not having had the full 2 weeks with the full squad, the full defensive unit to try and deal with some of the systemic issues that we saw at West Ham, means that I think there'll be goals in it. And I also think I think Hart massively underrates the other teams around us in the division. Yeah. And as much as I think Sean Dyche isn't a great fit for Everton in lots of different ways, he's still very pragmatic. And I think we'll see an away point at Ipswich, which is fine, and we'll probably aim for that. And therefore, it's about, can we break them down? And I think we got Villa on a good day. We've got 2 goals and lots of big chances. I'm not expecting Everton to be as open as that. So that's why I went for the draw.
Dave, someone like Sean Dyche surely is messaging to his Everton squad, you are not one of the worst 3 squads in the Premier League. Surely that's being passed on all the time, that you should, keep going. Sound like Paul Cook, keep going. And that's to Richard's point, Dave.
And Dyche teams will, won't they? So I think it's going to be I see it as a hard fought, and every game in the Premier League, what am I saying? But especially on Saturday, I think it's going to be a hard fought game. Look, it's certainly a game capable of winning without question. But like Rich, you wonder, will there be a little bit of potentially a defensive hangover from the West Ham game? As Rich quite rightly said, haven't had a lot of time, I should say, on the grass with these players we won't have done over the last week or so. So, yeah, it's a difficult one. That's and that's why I sort of hedged and went for a draw there. Really,
I would have gone for a win straight after the Villa game. By the way,
I think
just the last time out, isn't it, Dave?
I think Rich, most of us would have done. I think.
Bit damaged by that.
Had we had a convincing, but even it's sort of like almost a convincing narrow loss at West Ham, like a 2-1 or something like that. It was just the manner of West Ham was tough one, wasn't it? Really tough one.
Yeah, very much so. Right, guys, in the comments next, please. And you were very helpful on the last one. So if you can just write Brentford, win, lose, draw, give us your views in the comments on a trip to Brentford, who one of the teams that would have been considered way behind us in years past, but in our recent lull, decade long lull, very much went past us. Get your comments in right now. By the way, if you watch after the fact, we'll leave the live chat turned on so you can see what's going on during the show. Right, I've not procrastinating. It's on purpose to let people have their say, but we'll go to you first, Rich, and a lack of optimism here. I've gone for a defeat. So has Craig. So has Dave. Joe's gone for a draw. Mikey's gone for a draw. And yourself and Seb Rich have both gone for a defeat. I'll lead off before you speak by saying Brentford strike me as a team this season that when they're coming up in a, quote, winnable game against the team down the bottom, they're beating most of those teams, aren't they? I'm concerned about this one, I have to say.
Yeah, and I would have predicted a away defeat at Brighton earlier in the season, for example, and I don't see this game as being much different to that. I obviously stature-wise, Brighton probably nudged themselves ahead, but still, Brentford are now a tenured Premier League team or semi-tenured Premier League team. And again, West Ham is playing in my mind. I just don't think away from home we've figured out a strategy or a system yet that makes us hard enough to beat. I guess we keep talking about the Brighton game. That's my one hope, but it does feel like that was some stuff played in our favour. And Muric had some good double saves there. And I just think Mbeumo's on form, isn't he, at the moment? It just feels like that away from home, a team like that, they're just too comfortable and competent and this is their bread and butter, isn't it? This is how they've stayed along
exactly
in the Premier League so long, is knocking over the teams they should beat at home and maybe struggling, pick up the odd win against Liverpool or Man United every now and then, but it's beating everyone who you should beat at home, and therefore it'd be difficult for us to get a win. Certainly a draw isn't impossible. This is the same thing with the game against Everton. A win is possible against Everton. A draw is possible at Brentford. I mean, a win isn't impossible, but I just can't see it, Ben. Can't see it. Away from home, yeah, not quite yet.
What's your take, Dave?
Yeah, I agree. I think Rich made a good comment there. I don't think we've quite found our way of playing away from home quite yet. And Brentford, I think, are the sort of the lower division. Quite, they're bully teams, don't they? Certainly, crazy game against Wolves last time out. Was it 5-3, wasn't it? Interesting.
Plays, early goals, Dave. Yeah.
I mean, there's a point. Don't concede in the first minute. Surely we'll go on and win. I mean, scored 13, conceded 13 though. So it will be it could be a really open game. But again, another one of those games which seems crazy because Brentford have last 4 games they scored 3 in the first minute, and last time out was in the second minute. It's just absolutely
like 75 seconds or something, Dave.
It's balmy, isn't it? Absolutely balmy. So look, there's a thing that talk about keeping it tight. You certainly do there, and obviously Mbeumo, 6 goals in 7 games, absolutely on fire, good player. And Wissa as well up front. So yeah, as Rich quite rightly said, now a seasoned Premier League team really. And yeah, look, us at home, they'll be certainly expecting 3 points out of that. So yeah, that's going to be a difficult one. But again, a bit like when we went into the West Ham game, a positive performance this coming weekend against Everton, and I know despite I think it'll be a draw and a win, your confidence is there, isn't it? So again, I think the whole Brentford thing, I think a lot will depend on what goes on this weekend, I think.
Very much so. And let's get some more predictions in the comments. Game 3 of this block is probably the one that the whole world has circled, isn't it? Because it is a home game against Leicester City. So again, get in the comments, guys. Leicester win, lose, draw. Does feel like, I hate saying this and stacking it up because the ones you think are going to be the big ones, you go away and beat Brentford and then lose at home to Leicester or something like that, because football's not completely logical. That's why we love it. But get your comments in, and you will be pleased to see that. Oh no, I can't believe that. Oh wow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 predicted wins. That's just terrible news. So confident. We know what Steve Cooper's going to do. He's going to low block and counter attack, isn't he, Dave? We did well against Leicester, but last season, well, we got away without losing. Didn't beat them, did we? No. But it does feel like that team was better than the one that they've got in the Premier League without Dewsbury Hall and Maresca gone. Why the confidence, Dave, here? What could possibly go wrong?
You look at the fixtures and that came out at the start of the season, and the two teams that came up with you, certainly at home, they're the games you've got to win. They're the games you have to win. And again, dependent on what happens in the next two games, I would say that the Leicester game is. I hate to say it. That is
no. You love to say it.
No, I do love to say it. But I think that is a must-win game. That is a must-win game. That one, yeah, definitely. Yeah, but again, showing a bit of form. Got the win last time out against home to Bournemouth. Good win, good goal actually.
Dave, it was very sit behind the ball, score a weldy, concede loads of chances. It's not the most viable.
You're right. That's not sustainable. But got the 3. But doesn't matter. Ben. Got the 3 points.
Yeah,
so.
Okay.
Yeah, at this stage of at this stage of events, without having a win yet, well, hopefully we'll have a win by then. Yeah, that is a 3-pointer that we really desperately need.
Rich, hype it up some more. Use a different term that means must win, but don't say must win.
It's imperative that we've been victorious.
Imperative victory.
Yeah. Only and again, context. I think in the context of my predictions, having not predicted a win at home to Everton, I kind of feel there's a point where if we are serious about staying up, we have to win this game, and it just gets amped up. And I mean, Leicester are no longer one of the losers.
That'll be game number 10 of the season. There's something kind of symbolic about that as well, isn't there? Yeah,
and I kind of think that in similar fashion to Everton, I think Leicester will be quite happy with an away point, and I don't think they'll look to attack us too much. They'll be direct and over the top, looking for Jamie Vardy, as they've always done, and pace out wide, isn't it? But I think a point for Leicester at Portman Road is fine. And therefore, I kind of think it's on us to impose ourselves on them. And as I say, if we haven't got a win on the board by game 10, if that's what it is, Ben, then we've got to go for it. But I do feel there's a little bit of head and heart at play in me predicting a win there. I just don't have a good sense of anything at the moment. But
oh no,
I'm sorry, guys.
Oh no,
I'm sorry, but maybe we'll smash Everton and it won't matter. But at that point, if we haven't, I think it's all on that one, isn't it? And to be fair, at Portman Road, I'd back us. I mean, we'll talk about Joe Fairs' predictions in a bit.
Yeah, wait on a minute. Why is Joe at that party? This would be much
fixture coming up. But yeah, at home, I back us at home, and I think the crowd will be big up for that one as well.
Yeah,
a lot of people, Dave, have been pointing out to me. I think Bournemouth didn't win any of their first 9 games last season. Is that correct, or was it the season before?
I think it was last season. Then they went on a crazy run, didn't they? So can you see us realistically doing something?
Always.
Like look, look, let's see. But no, that is an imperative, as Rich quite said. That's an imperative 3 points. That one.
There you go. Guys, I'm going to hit the Atwell's advert in a minute, but can you get your predictions in for Tottenham Hotspur away from home? Just write Spurs win, lose, or draw. Tottenham away from home, and you've got 32 seconds to do it. Away you go.
Blue Monday is proudly brought to you in partnership with our friends at Atwell Solicitors, your ideal legal partner for work on property or business law. Their client care has repeatedly been recognised as outstanding, and they are people-focused with a plain English approach which sets them apart. They have offices in Ipswich, Colchester and London, and to find out more, head to atwells.com.
So regardless of what had happened in the previous, or in the first 7 games. I think Spurs away would have been won before the season. Most people wouldn't have been like, okay, get what you can, get out of Dodge. And the team, although Joe Fairs, of course, has got us getting something there. Joe's got us getting a draw. Everybody else has got a defeat. I mean, it's going to be great to see the club, Dave, playing that, what's considered, one of the world's best stadiums now. But we don't want to be this bloody enjoying our days out, whilst giving teams 3 points, do we? But that's going to be so difficult, isn't it?
We don't want to be fodder, do we? Don't want to be Premier League fodder at Spurs. Yeah, I mean that's going to be an occasion, and obviously a bit like the London. Well, no, totally different to the London Stadium, but first time we'd have played there competitively. Yeah, they've got goals in them. 12 goals. So I think they're one of the teams with a game in hand. I think they've only played 6 games, so I think they're averaging 2 goals a game. Brennan Johnson's in Reeves, but I think he's got pace, haven't they? Son, and I'll stop talking about their players anyway. But yeah, it's that's going to be so tough. Bit of an iffy result last time. Absolutely coasting in the first half at Brighton, weren't they? They got properly turned over. Brighton had a real go at him second half. They got properly turned over in that one. So, ironically, and you get the impression that Postecoglou's under a little bit of pressure, kind of.
Yeah,
it seems ridiculous so early on in this season, but there's certainly rumblings there, as there obviously was at
Dave,
West Ham.
this will sound ridiculous. I could see us losing 4-0 or winning 3-2 or something ridiculous if it's a basketball game. Do you know what I mean? Could actually suit.
I get that. I get that. I do get that. Yeah. But no, I think certainly heart and head, I think, says a defeat there, unfortunately.
What say you, Richard?
Another 4-1 incoming, I'm afraid.
Oh, no.
That's my sense.
I don't want that.
But, mate, look, we'll be off the back of a victory over Leicester.
Yes.
Hey. So there you go. So
yeah.
momentum, the dreaded M word.
I think you're right. If we beat Leicester and pick up a couple of points from Everton, some points from Everton and Brentford. Yeah, if we go to Spurs and you've got something, as long as you don't get absolutely totally bloody mullered, then a 3 or 4-1.
Dave, we can't keep losing 4-1. No. It's a problem.
Well, we can't. No, we can't. But
I just think big stages like that. I mean, we've got some players who've got experience of playing in big stadia, and international players is really helpful in that respect. But it's not
so inexperienced.
It's so human. It's natural human behavior to rock up a 60,000 capacity stadium where 97% of the crowd want you to lose, but also you're playing against world-class players. The odds are very much stacked against us pretty much every time we play away from home anyway. But Spurs either win or they lose at the moment. Only 1 draw in their 7 games. Mm-hmm. So who knows what's possible off the back of hopefully a victory against Leicester. But yeah, I think Dave's summed it up pretty well. It won't be 4-1, but it'll be tough. It'll be tough.
Yeah, it will.
We're actually going past the next international break to fit these in into the block, I think. Yeah. But Manchester United at home, everybody, get in the comments whether you think that's going to be win, lose, draw. And I kind of get why people probably think we have more chance of scoring points against Man United than Brentford away, just because of the sheer majesty of the occasion, because it's Man United and everything that kind of stands for. It's a home game, and a lot of people, I know you, Dave, we can do the thing with their squad, obviously, but a lot of people think that they're a bit crap given how good their players are and, the wages they pay. And I suspect we'll probably get more optimism than this for Brentford away, where they just kind of know what they're doing. Let's go to you first, Richard. And first off, we started the podcast. We've played Accrington Stanley and lost to them and, lost at home to Fleetwood and all of that. Man United at home, come on, let's celebrate the fact that we're back in with the big boys.
Yeah, and there's some basket casery about Manchester United in 2024. I'm looking forward to the Blue Monday Rewind show for Man United at home, because my recollection is we've given them a good game at Portman Road, caveat, every season we've been in the Premier League. I remember us beating them at home twice in the 90s. We drew them the first home game of the 2000-2001 season. Ruud van Cheetelrooy, Penn to beat us in the relegation season. So we've got a really good history at home to Man United. And I predicted, I think, a defeat. But I'm coming around to think we might get a draw in this one.
Would you like to see what the team put before you continue, Richard?
I went for a defeat, but I'm changing it to a draw now, only because I feel so negative about what I've said so far.
So
hang on.
I've gone for a defeat, and not only do I think it'll be a defeat, I think it's going to be really irritating. I think we're going to play really well, and they'll be really muggy, and like Fernandez or Rashford or someone.
Or worse, Anthony.
They just do something at the end of the game and win it for them, and they won't deserve to win. I hate to say that, but Craig and Dave have got draws. Joe Fairs, ladies and gentlemen, has a win. Of course, Mikey's got a draw. Rich has just changed his, so Seb's got a defeat, and Rich has got a draw. You got anything more to say, Rich, before Dave comes in?
No, go for it, Dave. Go on.
I think just looking at go back to the thing. Go back to the thing. Just looking at Joe, I think that's the pattern he's going to have for the rest of the season: win, draw, win, draw.
2 points per
right
game,
the way through the season, irrespective of who we're playing. That's brilliant.
He's got us winning all the home games, basically.
Let's face it, when Joe in previous seasons has been, I've got to say, has been pretty much spot on.
Dave, we scored nigh on 200 points the last two seasons.
Caveat to that. Totally
controversial to predict Ipswich winning.
Totally different times. Granted, totally different.
Well, that's a good point. Just quickly, Dave. Ruud is going to be there as well, isn't he? He's on the staff there.
He might be caretaker manager at that point.
Absolute pelters for the misery he's caused us for the last. Well, not for the last, prior to 17 seasons prior to last.
Can I say, Dave, in that game, Roy Keane was taking the mickey. We could not get near that bloke. I think he'd just come back from injury, and Ferguson played. I know you'll do this on a rewind show, but Ferguson played quite a few. You know, when Ferguson would just put in like random players and Man United would still win because exactly. And he'd be like playing up front. And all I remember is us not being able to get near Roy Keane, and Paul Scholes maybe coming on at like 70 minutes or something. Carry on, Dave. Sorry.
Rich quite rightly said they are a basket case at the moment. I mean, good grief, they're all over the place, and probably got a sort of. Didn't Harry Maguire get a late equaliser in Europe a couple of weeks ago, which, as I said, kept Ten Hag in a job. I don't think it was quite Ten Hag in a job, not quite like that, but certainly I think got him perhaps a little bit more breathing space. Again, can't score goals. Only scored five goals. And he is under pressure. They're the 14th. I think this is their worst start for the whole eons, isn't it? For goodness sake. I think that they're 14th after another team's only played 6 games, I think. 7 points. So it's going to be, look, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see who they're playing, who United are playing in between, Ben, in the net, in those games in between.
You carry on talking, I'll tell you.
But, if you were, I know it's not, if you were playing Man United this coming weekend at home, I think you would say it's a good time to play them. But as you quite rightly said and Rich said, look, they've got players in that squad that Fernandez, like him or loathe him, is a quality player. And,
strangely, Dave, sorry to interrupt, mate. They play 4 times in a row at home, including Leicester twice. So they're playing the EFL Cup. I mean, that's one thing. They literally have 3-game weeks every week with these European teams. They play Leicester at home, then they play Chelsea at home, then they play, excuse my pronunciation here, PAOK Thessaloniki FC in the Europa League. Then they play Leicester. Oh, and then of course it's the international break, so it doesn't much matter. But in terms of the security of the manager, I think he'll be okay, won't he?
I think that's a good thing. I think he'll be okay. But under severe pressure like these, their worst start for seasons and seasons, isn't it? So I think we're certainly capable, as it stands, certainly capable of getting a point out of that one, and who knows, maybe better.
There we go. Right, last one, guys. We are doing one more, aren't we? And before I put that on the screen, that is going to be Nottingham Forest away. Are we doing one more, Rich? Is that right?
Yeah.
We are. There we go. Okay. Nottingham Forest away. Give us a win, a lose, or a draw on that one. And the team is not confident when we're away from home, sadly. I've gone for a draw. I don't know why, but maybe I just wanted us to get get 5 points from the 6 games and not look too much of a curmudgeon again. Even though I was the closest last time, if you didn't hear at the top of the show, for those people who've been giving me pelters on bloody social media. Craig's gone for a defeat. We got draws for Dave and Joe. Mikey and Seb have gone for a defeat. Rich, you've also gone for a draw. Have you got any logic other than me, other than you want nice things to happen to Ipswich Town?
Yeah, after predicting a defeat to Man United and Spurs, I kind of think, right, well, we don't usually lose 2 in the trot, do we? So that was in my thinking. But now I've predicted a draw. I've changed to a draw for Man United. I kind of feel like Forest away is tougher than maybe we think. And I kind of was waxing lyrical about our amazing record at home to Man United in the Premier League. We've got a shocking away record at Forest, haven't we? Absolute abysmal. I think the last time I saw us there was chucking away a 2-0 lead in 14-15. Daryl Murphy, double late goals. I remember Jono scoring against us, for Forest as well. Matt Holland, I think, was it the last time? Or have we...
Oh, was that game, yeah.
Since?
Do you remember when Mick left and Brian Klug was the manager and we were like, Grant Ward chested one in and then they scored twice in stoppage time and beat us then? Remember that one as well?
McGugan Long Ranger.
Joe Lolly, possibly?
It was a 3-0 game to keep Forest up last
I
game
went to that one as well. Mark Warburton, they were on the pitch celebrating.
Warburton. Cohen scored a hell of a goal. It was his last game, wasn't it?
So I'm now less confident about my prediction of a draw there, but I do feel, similarly to you, Ben, that at some point there's just some, Brighton. I keep citing Brighton. It feels like at the time a bit of an anomaly, but it's proof that if you dig in and get a little bit of fortune, that sometimes you can just pick up a point when you don't deserve it, and maybe it'll be one of those.
I think you're right. It's a good point you made about Brighton. We dug in. We had a bit of good fortune, and you need that, and we will need that. And look, crikey, at the end, Delap could have even snatched that one at the end. So it's just not conceding these away from home, these silly, home as well, but these
early in the game as well, Dave.
Early doors, exactly. But Rich is quite right. Our recent record at Forest is wretched, isn't it? Really. That's got to change. That's got to change at some point.
Primarily picked up on the road, by the way. No wins at home yet. 2 draws and a defeat there. So, maybe hopefully that sample size improves in that respect and continues that way. But maybe Forest are an away team. I don't know, but yeah, difficult. What's your thoughts on what was your working on your draw, Ben?
Well, I think Nuno is by definition kind of pragmatic, and Forest fans won't thank me for saying they're kind of like a less good Brentford, so I'm less worried about going there. But they do stuff that we're not great at, which was, I think, everybody's take on Brentford, that good set play team, good at knocking over the teams they need to knock over to stay up. I just would think they would be a little bit too sturdy and a little bit. I think got more chance of winning at Spurs than at Forest. Again, I'll make the same point because Spurs will Spurs could give you 2 goals, whereas Forest, you're like, we will know how Nuno used to set up, and I think he's got even more pragmatic when he doesn't have Neves, Bolly, and Jota in the Championship, for God's sake, and losing £1 million a week. But there we go. I've given my thoughts many times on the financial situation of Wolves when they're in the Championship. What are you going to do? Let's have a look then and round this out. In fact, guys, go for questions now. Get your questions in now, and we'll put them to Rich and Dave. So, is this the sort of statistical analysis where we actually remove Joe Fairs because it's such an outlier that you wouldn't use that to form an average? But look, we got 3 of us on 5, 2 of us on 6, Mikey there on 8. So if we were, putting Mikey and Joe's in there puts it up to sort of, but look, let's say 5 or 6 points, Dave. The table at the moment, we have 4 points from 7 games. So call it 6. Go on. Let's be optimistic. Call it 6. You would have 10 points from 13 games. So you'd still be below the point per game. But remember, we're talking more 35 maybe than 38 points. So 3 below a point per game might be enough. Do you think we'd still not be in the bottom 3 if we had 10 points at game 13? I know it's really hard to say.
Surely not. Surely we would be, wouldn't we?
I don't know.
I don't know. I really don't know. All I know is I hope come the 1st of December, Joe's on this show saying, "Told you, told you."
Mate, I'll give him a standing ovation, Dave, if he's
I
on
think
this
we
show
all would.
saying I
I
told
think
you.
we absolutely yeah. Honestly, we all would, wouldn't we? I just so hope. But
there's the variable there, Dave, just to lob in the mix. If there are still teams below us by the time we get to November, there'll be managerial changes, won't there? And then
yeah,
that's a good point.
Rich, that's a very, very good
how
point.
that plays out.
No,
short term, as you've talked about a lot, Ben, you might get a little temporary.
You're talking Wolves and Southampton. Are you talking?
I'm thinking Wolves and Southampton primarily. Maybe Palace, maybe, although the guy hasn't been in that long, hasn't he? But yeah,
I don't think that 0 in the Palace win column is going to be lasting too much longer. I just don't feel that, Rich. Sorry, continue, mate. Sorry.
No, I agree. I don't know. I was going to lob that in the mix and see whether we thought that might change anything. But
it's a good point, Dave, about owners rightfully, November's a graveyard, isn't it? Because they can put somebody in and then prep the transfer window as well, can't they?
Another break, yeah.
And the international break.
It's a good point.
Guys, get your questions in the comments. Hopefully, we've been as balanced as possible with the predictions. And again, for those people hard of understanding, we would like nothing more than Ipswich to score 10, 12, however many, 15, 18 points from those 6 games. But it is our job to try and be sensible and realistic on this show. When I'm in the stadium, I'm going to scream. I'm going to be biased about every decision. All 50-50 should go for Ipswich. All decisions against us are wrong, and we should score with every shot, and every goal that we concede should be disallowed. But on the show right now, when I'm not in the stadium, I'm not going to be like that because I'm going to look like a bit of a prat. But what you're going to do, what's Brent in the Christmas special? Made me look a prat. Anyway, I'll find that quote. Someone will do it in the chat. Rich, do you want to just do a quick plug for the week's work and the closing date for the FCA Awards as well?
Yeah. Firstly, shout out to Outwells and One Stop Badges. Dave, do you want to do your usual trick of pointing in the right direction? He's done it. He's been practicing. Well done, Dave. Yeah, so thank you to them. Have you got a One Stop badge on you? I'm not professional enough to have one.
Wait a minute,
but yeah, 10% promo in the.
It's packaged.
I've got a hair tie. I've got. Yeah. I can plug Colgate here.
Nice.
It's a mouthwash here.
I've gone the wrong way. I've gone the wrong way.
I've got a Willy Wonka golden ticket, Richard.
I've got a little model of Space Bug from.
I've got some tea tree facial wipes, which are very nice.
And
I've got a Wallace and Gromit pencil top.
This is the best thing on my desk.
Oh,
look at that. There's a picture of my daughter, Enid. How about that?
Bless her.
So what we've proven is we don't have anything relevant for promotion of One Stop Badges. But check them out and check what out was out as well. But yeah, Dave, if you find a Blue team member pre-match, we usually get them while they last. They've only a limited. It's like eBay situation there at some point, I'm sure, on those. The value will only increase there. But yeah, usual stuff this week. Full round of Everton coverage. Dave and Craig have already recorded Rewind. So that will be out Tuesday.
Did the crowd say both selected, Dave?
I was thinking that straight away, yeah.
It's in the can. It's in the can. In the can, that is.
Anything you want to spoil there, Dave, apart from me not speaking about the best game in the Premier League era?
No, not really. I don't think. No, I do. There is a little bit of self-indulgence again with that one, only really to describe one particular goal, though. So that's something to look.
Does somebody jump above the crossbar?
No. That was a away game.
Okay,
something that Colin will appreciate when he sees it. But it's one of the great goals, and perhaps one that's not quite so well known, but one of the great goals of that era. But no, some interest in one of the games. Some interesting players in the Everton lineup, certainly in one of the games. So, yeah, it's all good stuff.
Keep a lookout for that then. Tuesday, Wednesday, Premier League predictions. Thursday, pre-match. Boom, boom, boom. Let me hear you say wayo. And then Sunday, Flagship Show back here, 8 p.m. with Joe back in the middle chair here, talking about an Ipswich Town victory, I'm sure. We haven't really spoken about the FCAs too much, the Football Content Awards, but if you're hearing this or watching this before midnight on Sunday, you can vote for us for Best Podcast Premier League, not EFL, Premier League. Footballcontentawards.com youtube.com/voting. There's a load of categories. You don't have to vote for all of them, but best podcast, you can vote for us. And I think best content creator as well, Premier League, TWTD are in there as well. Alex Griffin is somewhere as well. So do get behind fellow ITFC content creators there on the FCAs. And Thursday, merch store's got a 20% promo off. But Blue Monday, itfc.co.uk is everything you need for the podcast stuff. Feeds, videos, merch store, etc. Running order for the week as well.
Apparently, I heard there's going to be Ricky Gervais presenting the awards, a bit like the Golden Globes. Is that right?
Oh, and he just buries all the people in the room. That I would turn up for.
What are you doing here?
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
Is there any point me asking you two to answer the questions quickly? You're just going to answer them at your own length anyway, aren't you?
I'll try. What he's inferring there.
He's talking. I think he's more at you than me.
I want to get through as many people's questions. Get them in there. We'll start with you, David. Neil asks, do we see a settled 11 in this next block?
Yes.
It's just juvenile. Absolutely. I nearly swore that at you, Diamond.
I was going to do exactly the same.
Do we see a settled 11? Well, let's hope so. Yes. Because I think if there is a settled 11 in the next block of half dozen games, it will mean, I think, would have had a reasonable, more than a reasonable start. The first 2 or 3 games. So yeah, let's certainly hope so. I've seen a few comments. This may come up about right back, but that you might move on to that, Ben.
Colin, who's got optimism levels similar to Joe Fair's, Rich, asks, do you believe, like me, the ladies will win the league?
Believe is probably the word there. I mean, I, of course, hope, but we've seen time and again that this is such a cruel and challenging division to get out of. ITFC women missed out on promotion on goal difference, or at least a playoff to get out on goal difference. So it's going to be tough, but the full momentum, the quality of the squad gives us really good opportunity. So I'm hopeful. Believe. Go on then, I believe.
I'll take this one. Norman, when the inevitable happens at Man United, will they see Frank as a better bet than McKenna? I think the window for McKenna, where he looked really golden, was the summer after the double promotion. And it would again be next summer. So I don't think the timing lines up for anyone taking McKenna during the season would be my take. I think he was the hottest name in English football, wasn't he, in the summer? But as much as I don't necessarily believe this is right, but when people see him struggling down in 17th, the perception is slightly different, and I'm perfectly happy with that. Dave, you're talking about this. Rob, who are you starting at right back against Everton? And sorry, for those people, we didn't know that this injury, we were kind of making light of it. Oh, can you play with a hand injury? We didn't know at the time that this is really nasty, this hand injury for Tuanzebe, Dave. Yeah, best wishes to him. It sounds awful.
It sounds like he nearly severed his thumb off, for goodness
sake.
Stop it.
So, God.
You'd think you'd have a dishwasher, wouldn't you? But anyway, we'll dwell on that.
Dave, you can't put everything in the dishwasher. You have to. I tend to have to do a sink as well as the
I must admit,
dishwasher.
Yeah. Good point. Well made. What was the question? Oh, right back.
Right back.
Yeah. Look, Johnson struggled. Let's face it. So Tuanzebe's out for the foreseeable. Johnson struggled big time against West Ham. Was part of that the occasion? Did the occasion get to him a little bit? Going back to his old club, I don't know, but he did struggle. Having said that, West Ham obviously world class players up against him, Jared Bowen, etc. Kudos, Paqueta, world class players. Do we see Harry Clark? Harry Clark was back on the bench, and we've spoken about physicality again.
Bloody love Harry Clark, Dave.
I've said that word again. Well, he's a member of our golf club. Crikey, getting it a ball a long way. So it's totally irrelevant, I know, but I'll throw that in. But so maybe Clark. Although, but hey, look, here we are. Someone has pitched there quite rightly that I think that Dara O'Shea's been playing right, or certainly on the right side, right back for Ireland. Would we be surprised to see him there and Wolfie getting a game alongside Greaves? Yeah, that might.
Doesn't that fly in your face of the settled 11 question? Though you want to leave your centre backs alone, though, Dave.
Well, maybe you don't. Maybe that's the start of the settled 11, Ben.
Okay, yeah,
maybe that's the start of it. But look, yeah, that they're the perimeter. It wouldn't surprise me if Johnson doesn't start and Clark gets a chance there.
Richard, I don't know anything about this. How does Delap's buyback clause work? Has he got a buyback clause in there? Could City get him back on the cheap? If anything, I hope it's not as terrible as the one Sheffield United had for Cameron Archer, where it basically kind of worked out with Villa that I think they kind of signed him for like 18 million or something, and then sold him for like 2 million quid more on the buyback clause. So hopefully it's been written a little bit better than that. But you wouldn't see even Liam Delap would need to score 20 goals for Man City to buy him back, wouldn't he? When they've got like the universe's greatest striker in their squad.
Yeah. There's only one striking position there, and it's Haaland for the foreseeable, isn't it? So as soon as Haaland gets the Real Madrid move, it'll be as Delap ready to make the step up. And one season at Premier League level with Ipswich, I don't think is enough.
No.
I guess the most relevant to us recently was Philogene. He was on a buyback, wasn't he? I believe. Is that right?
Yeah. So Villa have obviously done that on all of their contracts, haven't they? Something that's smart, I guess. Dave, is it over for Broadhead here?
No, mate. Oh no. Well, we don't know. We haven't seen him, have we? I mean, made the bench against West Ham.
Okay, line me up can you give me a hierarchy of left wingers then? Because I bet you've got him third.
Yeah, I'm afraid. I think I have. I just think, and again, it's that.
You got Clark and Smodics ahead of him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think so. It's and it's just a shame. But look, he may well get a chance. He may well work because he's very, at Premier League, very technical, quick feet, very, very technical player. But again, you just worry, as I do about Clark to a degree. You worry about his, and I won't say the P word again, but the size and perhaps the ease and this readiness that they perhaps can get knocked off the ball. So I'd love it. We all love Broadhead, don't we? He's been absolutely fantastic for us the last 2 seasons, and all of us, to a man, every support would love him to come in, particularly as a link for the last 2 seasons, play well and get a starting. But you just can't see it. But who knows? All it takes is a cameo, comes on a sub, cameo, scores a worldie that we know he's capable of. His confidence is up, and off he goes. Who knows? But at this moment in time, he's very much third in that left side axis.
Back to Sunderland on loan in January, Dave.
That's that
you'd hate to see it.
You
know what's going to happen, Dave? He's going to come off the bench, score a consolation goal in the game, and then not get put in the first team next week, and he's going to go.
It's just, again, the timing of his injuries was just really unfortunate for him, wasn't it? But I think he certainly is behind those two at the moment, unfortunately.
FXT Blues. I don't buy the dishwashing story. He's definitely talking about Diamond, not Bloom there, because I definitely wash my own. My own dishes. As part of the deal there, because I cannot cook for toffee. I tell you. Speaking of toffee, here's Toffee Crisp. That's really smooth. No wonder we get nominated for awards. Do you think our right-hand side, Rich, is strong enough? Burns and Ogbene don't seem to have got going yet. That's probably a fair comment, as much as it annoys me that he's right.
Yeah, he's right. Yeah, it's a concern, isn't it? And the debate about who's going to start right back just further reinforces that. I don't think Burns is necessarily impressed too much. I think he had a good first half against Liverpool, but injuries don't help him out either. We're talking about Broadhead struggling with injuries, and I think the word you're looking for, Dave, is robustness. It's kind of a good run of games and then an injury again, and they're out of the team.
Not must win.
Or inevitable or whatever it was. No, what was I can't even remember. What was I talking about? And physicality. But yeah, I like the idea of Ogbene, and then frozen out against Villa, wasn't it? It didn't really feature too much against Villa. You guys are debating Broadhead. That 3 behind the striker is still big question marks. A real opportunity for someone to stake a claim by just coming in and doing well at the moment. I think, if Broadhead was to play, come off the bench and score against Everton, against his old club, by the way, I think McKenna's going to have to think seriously about it, because Clark's had a good game against Villa, maybe, but then completely out of the game against West Ham. So it's just so inconsistent. Maybe McKenna needs 2 teams, a home and away team, and maybe that personnel down the right-hand side needs to reflect that.
Chaplin had a nice little cameo a few minutes against West Ham, didn't he? Very much so. Look,
well,
Smollish
Dave,
did all right, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Let's round this out because my eyebrows going up there. Oh yeah, Chaplin. Just how many goals has he scored in the last 2 seasons? Richard, how do we feel about so few of the League One and Championship promotion team being in this current starting 11? Feels like everyone's been very pragmatic. I think we have to be pragmatic about it, Dave. It is, it is sad to get emotional about it. We discussed this during pre-season, but the way the football pyramid is structured now and the finances, unless you mentioned Fulham earlier, Dave, unless you get promoted with a 90 million quid wage bill with a ready to go Premier League team, it's just inevitable, isn't it?
And Ben, realistically, going into this season, it really was only ever going to be Davis and Morsey that were proper nailed on. Really, I think, especially after those signings were made. But I totally agree. It'd be great. We just mentioned Broad. It'd be great for him to come in, as Ben said, score a goal and get a chance in that, get a chance in that position. But it's there had to be change, particularly at the rate, going straight through League One, through the Championship. It's just not, it's just not sustainable. Unfortunately, that's just not sustainable. That squad isn't sustainable for the Premier League, as we can see. So, yeah, we'd all love that for perhaps Hutchison, Chaplin and Broadhead and people like that to be playing more regularly. But realistically, it's just not going to happen.
No. There we go. That has been Blue Monday and Ipswich Town podcast for another episode. Loads of Everton stuff, as Richard plugged earlier in the show. Rich, last word from you, mate.
Have a great week, everyone. International football over for another few weeks at least. So, Everton, anything is possible. Hopefully, it's a win. Hopefully, us negative podcasters will be wrong again, and we'll be celebrating something this time next weekend.
David, last word from you, mate.
Yeah. Head says a draw next weekend, but Heart really thinks a win. Really thinks 3 points. So come on.